knows the Arabic poetry. She told her husband, I saw my dream, something interesting. He said, what did you see? She said, I saw a vision that Allah have made an order for the dam to fall apart. And this whole entire village or area or city will be basically destroyed. Her husband went to check the dam, and he found a rat, okay, making hole in the bottom of it. And he was, even in some of the narration, that he was pushing rock, يعجز عن حملها 50 من الرجال. Yeah, he was pushing rocks that maybe 50 men were all pushing. For that small rock, like whatever thing that he's doing, it make it move. Maybe he dug underneath the bed, so it started rolling. Whatever that rock was doing, they basically, when he saw that, he said what she saw in her dream is true. Now, how can I get out? How can I convince people to leave this beautiful place? So he called his nephew, and he said, I will say bad things about you in front of the gathering, like this guy. You go, he's young. You stand up and you slap me. I can't, you like my father. That's not your business. You stand up and you slap me in front of everybody. He did it. And after he was slapped, he said, I will never live in a country where I was humiliated publicly by one of my kids, or like a kid to me, which is my nephew. And that was the reason for him to leave. He wanted to make up anything just to excuse for him to leave the city without being, shamed. He said, خلاص هذه أرض أهنت فيها لا أجلس. So he took all his, he said to the people, I am putting everything I have here for sale. فَتَوَاثَبَ النَّاسِ. People start giving him offer left and right. He's a very well-known businessman. So he collected a good deal of money, and he took his children. Who's our children? Aus, Khazraj. And he got out of Yemen. And whoever his cousin, and that's how Aus or Khazraj came to Medina, and they settled in Medina. And when they came and they saw the Jews there, they basically start dealing with them, building alliance with them. And when the number of the Arabs start populating, Jews were worried that they would become minority. So what they did, they start making problems in the city. And that history speaks about, they plotted several times for civil war to happen among the Arab tribes, among themselves. MashaAllah, in Arab, very easy to make them fight one another. It's from a long time. So basically it worked very well, and they kept fighting one another for a very long time. And one time some of the Jewish tribe will be allied with this Arab tribe, then they switch to another one with this Arab tribe, and that's how the game went for years and years and years to maintain superiority over the Arabs who lives in the Medina at that time. That's how the game was for a good amount of time. So the Aus and Khazraj got sick of it. Okay? So one of the Khazraj, his name Malik ibn al-Ajlan, he became sick of the situation. And he said, I found the solution for you. We don't have the power to take over the Jews and destroy their castles, but I do know someone can. So he traveled all the way to Syria, to one of the kings of Syria, from Ghassan, the Arab originally. And they said, we are cousins, we're from the same background, those people do this and do this to us. We want you, king, to come and to help us. He had a treaty with the Jews, that king, too. So he said, but if I came to you, and they know about me, they will protect themselves, and I will be able to really conquer their castles. So I will come to visit you, but don't tell anyone that my army coming. Anyway, he came to help Aus or Khazraj, and he said, I swear by Allah, I will not get out of Medina until I kill every last one of those Jews in Medina or I will humiliate them in front of you and conquer their castle one after another. That's his commitment. And he said, I will come as if I'm going with my army to where? To Yemen, not Medina. He will not know. And I will surprise them. Anyway, so he basically came to Medina and he sent an invitation to them, to the Jewish leaders. They know him. He said, come to my place. And he hosted them in a big gathering for dinner. He said, come with your children. So the head of the Jewish tribes, everybody coming with their children, showing off, this is my kids, my sons, my cousins, my family members. And he made this big place for them, and he gathered them, tens and tens of them. And when they entered, he locked the door, and he executed all of them. He basically executed them. And he killed them, and he said to the Aus al-Khazraj, now you can take whatever you want. And very few among them managed to survive. That's the reason that was mentioned by many historians. Ibn al-Athir mentioned another reason for this massacre to happen. It's because of a Jewish king at that time who was very unfair, unjust to the Arabs. And he made a rule that any woman get married, he has to sleep with her first before she married her husband. And he made that rule, and he used to force people. So that man, Ajnan, who went to the king of Assassina, that was his daughter. That was his honor. And he doesn't want it to happen to him. So that's why he went and he asked him, and basically that's the reason behind it. Anyway, after this betrayal, there became a little bit of weak. Okay? And Al-Aus wal-Khazraj, they honored this king a lot. His name is Malik. And this was developed into a treaty where they decide among themselves that they will have a king. There's one piece, I don't know how important to be mentioned. Abdullah ibn Saba, Ibn Abi Salul, the head of the hypocrites, he's the only one that refused also to be participating in the massacre. Okay? And this one of the reasons that they choose him to be what? The king of Medina, because he still has a good relationship with the Jews, and he's the Arab. So they said, you became the king of the bold city. That was at the end of the era where Medina, Islam didn't arrive yet. So I want you to see how the city looks like. Wars, civil wars, betraying, massacres. It's a lot of trouble in this city. In this city also, you see how well established it is. So Al-Medina, it's a multicultural city. People, Arabs, Jews, multi-religion cities. Jews, Arabs, pagans, and Arabs upon the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam. People came from Yemen, came from Syria, came from Sham, came from Egypt. Also, Al-Medina is ready to receive the news of a new prophet, where it will come from Arabia. So they are psychologically ready for a prophet to come. Very well-known knowledge among the people of Medina. That's why Ibn Hazm rahimahullah said, فَكَانَ مِنْ صُنْعِ اللَّهِ, one of the amazing qadr of Allah, that He made them ready for Muhammad ﷺ by making the Jews travel from their land to Arabia just to carry the news of the new prophet who's coming. All this qadr Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put to make it ready and to prepare Arabia to receive Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Medina is ready to lead. Medina have every reason to lead the world. Location, it's one of the best locations. And civilizations, it is very long history. It's a very old city. Wealth, have a lot of natural resources. Okay? A stable society, yes, there is water. You don't need to travel to look for water. There is farms. It's already in the way of the caravans that goes north and south. Also, it has a lot of as we say, skillful people. You know, for instance, in Medina, there were 300 blacksmiths who make swords. 300 in a small city. Guys, I just want you to put things in perspective. Anybody here been to Masjid al-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? One of the people who work there, not a people, one of the leaders of the Shul al-Haram Medina, he told me, and he's also a professor at the university, he said that the size of the masjid Rasulullah today, the parking lot with all the opening area, okay, it is 7 times double the size of Medina in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. The masjid is 7 times double the size of the Medina in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. That's interesting. That's very interesting to me. You know, my father, which is, you know, not very long generations, I remember before this whole expansion in the open area, I remember my father pointing to me and telling me, over there, there used to be the gate of Medina, the Bawabat of Medina. And today it is part of the expansion in one of the sides. So Medina is not very big, it's small. So for you to know there's 300 blacksmiths there, you know, 72 small castles, 72 حصن, 59 structure for the Jew, and 13 for the Arabs at that time. That's a very interesting. Medina has valleys like Wadi al-Aqiq, the valley of al-Aqiq. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said, صلي في أتاني جبريل فصلي في هذا الوادي المبارك. It's a blessed valley in Sahih Bukhari. Wadi Batahan, also very famous, run in the middle of Medina. Wadi Qanat wa Mahzur, about 8 different valleys, springs, wells. That's why there is a lot of agriculture in that city. And Medina, also a society that has been suffering a lot from civil wars, plotting, betraying, disunity. So the Medina have been through all those, killing one another. And the society need leadership. The society understood the great need of leadership. That's why Ibn Salul was ready for that role. Guys, 120 years of civil war. You see Iraq, you see Syria, you see Libya today, this civil war. How many years? 5, 6, 10 years? This is 120 years. يقتل بعضهم بعض. They fight one another. The first fight was called Harb Samir. And the last one was Bu'ath. And basically, Bu'ath was a very ugly war that involved the killing of many children, about 40 children of the leaders of the Jewish community at that time, and that's when Ibn Salul said, I will not kill anyone, and that's why he became very famous and be ready to lead the community at that time. Anyway, and by the way, this Bu'ath was also flipped the coin, because usually the Aus are the one who dominated, but this one, Al-Khazraj, the one who won the battle. So I want you to see how this ugly war, Bu'ath, which is very ugly because it involved killing a lot of children in it and betraying people, make the people so ready to give up all this nonsense. They're looking for solutions. They're looking for real change. Looking for something to bring the hearts together. And that's why Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, كان يوم بعاث يوما قدمه الله لرسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. The day of the war of Bu'ath between the Aus and Khazraj and the Jews as a day that was a day that Allah had made it happen just to make them ready for Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is Sahih al-Bukhari. And one of the reasons for them to enter Islam. And that's why when they came to Mecca and they saw the Prophet ﷺ and he gave them Bay'at al-Aqaba al-Ula, the first pledge of allegiance that given to Muhammad ﷺ in Mecca. Listen to what they said. قالوا قد تركنا قومنا, we left our people, ولا قوم بينهم من العداوة والشر مثلهم. I don't know anyone in Arabia, they hate each other like the way our people hate each other. Sometimes, I'm saying this so you can reflect. By the way, I'm not here to talk about just history. I always say history is meant for us to learn from it. Sometimes we see the community is so divided. Habibi, you're not going to be as divided as this. He said there's no one, like sometimes we look at the Muslim Ummah today and we say the situation of the Muslim Ummah said, it is so divided, it will never be fixed. That's not true. We had, historically speaking, way worse than this. Anyway, so they said, Ya Rasulullah, there is nobody hate one another and have animosity towards another like us. So we hoping that Allah will gather the heart around you. And that shows you that what heal the wounds, what unite people, leaders. It's not just ideologies. It's just not ideas. It's not just a good religion and a good idea. What's really unified people is individuals. Is a person. Is basically a figure. And that's a very interesting point to see here, understood by the Ansar, by the people of Medina. They're so in need of that. And this constant war among themselves made them what? Can anybody think of, what do you think this is? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala illa fi khayr. All Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decree is good. What do you think many wars like this, how this benefited Muslims later on? 120 years of civil war. How this benefited us as Muslims, or benefited the Muslims in Medina later on? We understood. One is they are ready to be unified. They hate disunity. They hate. But there's another thing you can learn from this or benefit, which is they are well trained in war. They are ready warriors. They are strong fighters. Very skilled fighters. They have a long history of military, combat. So they're ready to defend Muhammad ﷺ very well. They know how to get into war. They know how to fight. That's why Al-Bara ibn Ma'ur, when he أخذ النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم's hand and he said, وَاللَّهِ الَّذِي بَعْثَكَ بِالْحَقِّ, I swear by the one who sent you the truth, we will protect you the same way we protect our family. فبايعنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Then he said, والله نحن أبناء الحرب وأهل الحلقة ورثناها كابرا عن كابر. He said, we the people of Al-Aws al-Khazraj, we the people of what? Of war. We the people of shields and swords and arms, arm suits. Like basically, in other words, we are the warriors. So we're ready to, we know how to fight. In society of Medina, women played a major role in society. Women in Medina is not like women in Mecca. Women in Medina are different. And that's in itself can be a lecture. But you see immediately there is a difference between the woman in Medina and the woman of Mecca. Medina, first of all, from the beginning, Al-Aws al-Khazraj are attributed to Quraysh, to a man. But Al-Aws al-Khazraj, Bani Qila, to their mother. Because she had a great influence on them. She had a great, basically, she was a great woman. And that's why they were named after her. Umar radiallahu anhu said, وَكُنَّا مَعْشَرَ قُرَيْشٍ نَغْلِبُ النِّسَاءَ فَلَمَّا قَدِمْنَا عَلَى الْأَنصَارِ إِذَا قَوْمٌ تَغْلِبُهُمْ نِسَاؤُهُمْ فَطَفِقَ نِسَاؤُنَا يَأْخُذْنَ مِنْ أَدَبِ نِسَاءِ الْأَنصَارِ. شوف الجمال، من أدب نساء الأنصار، مش من قلة أدب. جعلها من أدب نساء الأنصار. He said, Umar radiallahu anhu, we use in Quraysh, to be the dominating figure in the house. We control women very well. But when we came to Medina, we found that's not the case. Women in Medina are strong. They cannot be they're not very submissive women. very independent, very strong personalities. And he said, in no time our women start copying them. They became strong like them. So that shows you that even this is very different. SubhanAllah, look at the woman of Medina. In Bay'at al-Aqaba, in Thaniya, or Bay'at al-Ridwan, in the Bay'ah, which is the legion, to support the Prophet ﷺ, to fight with the Prophet, to be part of the battle, to be part of the army. Over there you will find women standing with men saying, we are committed to bring you to Medina, to protect you, to support you, to spread your deen, to help you to spread your religion, to give. From the beginning, you see how they are in the scene, and they are very well recognized. There were two women in the Bay'at al-Aqaba al-Thaniya, Imara and Asma bint Amr, Maniya. They fought with the Prophet ﷺ. And in Sahih Muslim, Sulaym, she had a khandar, a dagger in the day of Hunayn. And Abu Talha said, Ya Rasulullah, do you see this woman, Sulaym? She has a dagger with her. He said, Ya Rasulullah, what are you doing with it? Then she said, Wallahi, if a mushrik come and approach me, لَأَبْقُرَنَّ بِهِ بَطْنَهِ, I will basically cut his guts out. And in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Anas said, كان يغزو بأم سليم ونسوة من الأنصار. Whenever he go on the battlefield, he will take some of the women of Al-Ansar with him. They will help in the battlefield. Aisha, I can't tell you how many times you find that in Aisha. She said, Rahimahullah Nisa Ansar. May Allah have mercy on the women of Ansar. They're so special. Aisha, even she's a Meccan woman, she'd always talk about how the women are so different, so strong, so unique, so smart. Okay? The women of Ansar were women of business. Okay? For instance, for Bukhari, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to give the khutbah al-Jumu'ah standing on a trunk of a tree. A woman came, she said, Ya Rasulullah, I have a carpenter who works for me. She owned a business. She said, I will make my worker, will make for you a minbar with 3 steps. A woman came and offered that offer to the Prophet, her own business. You see another interesting story, also in the Bukhari. One of the women, she used to have a guest house. She used to make food for people after Jumu'ah. They come and they sit outside. She put a table, which is in our modern language, we call that what? Restaurant. Offer them food. Okay? And many incidents like this, where you see women are business women, have income. Ibn Mas'ud, his wife, she said, Ya Rasulullah, I make the money, and Ibn Mas'ud doesn't. Can I give him for my sadaqah and his children? He said to her, the best sadaqah that you give is the one you spend in your family. And many incidents where it shows you that women in that society, in Medina, used to work and other women start copying them as well. So these are facts about Medina, the way it is. So how the Prophet changed that? And I will just give a few points because of the time. Basically, it starts in a very early in Hajj, when he was asking, anybody can take me, protect me, deliver my word. And the Sahaba from Medina came and offered that, and that's how they said, we will take you to Medina, we will protect you, we'll spread your word. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sent Mus'ab, sent companions to start the da'wah there. Number one, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam bil-Tawheed. Nabi changed the society of Medina through Tawheed, through asking people that they worship Allah alone, and he made sure that the creed, the foundations of Iman is so clear in their mind and in their heart. There is no shirk, there is no any form of shirk. This heart is so pure, so independent from any form of shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because he understood that the base for unity is the word of La ilaha illallah. فكلمة التوحيد هي أساس توحيد الكلمة الناس. The Tawheed is unifying, will unify us as well. The correct creed play a major role in making you think straight, think correct. This, it's a brilliant thing, because changing society has to start from changing the heart. I always say, in America, we succeed in passing laws to forbid slavery and prosecute discriminations at a certain extent. We extend to talk about civil rights, the rights of women, the right of black, the right of this, the right of that. But you know what? We only made laws, but we're not very successful in changing people's heart and mind. The civil rights movement in America were fighting for legal change, but did not really win the heart of white people, in my opinion. It did not win the heart. I live in the South, in Texas, and you guys do too. And I can see that. It's a big difference between, it's not a civil rights movement, it's a movement to change people's belief, touch people's heart, touch people's iman. And that's what made the Sahaba radiallahu anhum a change, that made them think about that aqidah, made the Aus and Khazraj, they don't look at each other as Aus and Khazraj. He's looking at them as what? My brother. He doesn't look at his color, skin color, his background, his ethnic, the history. He look at him, this is Akhi fil Islam. This is my brothers in Islam. At-Tawheed, one of the reasons for security, safety. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. The more you have Tawheed, the more you have correct belief, the more security you will have in society, and the more guided the society will be. And the less, the less. And that security and guidance in dunya and in the akhirah. This brotherhood in Islam, it was a great deal of changing society. Tawheed means to attach your heart with Allah, so you fear Allah. It makes you connect to the akhirah, not to the dunya. We cannot fight one another over worldly, temporary matter. Al-Ikhlas, which is the business of Tawheed, make you loved by people. In Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, also one of the things that he did, he cared a lot about how he framed things. And this is very interesting. And it's psychologically work very well. And a lot of us don't pay attention to it sometimes. It's so important. It's as important as the accuracy of the information is how you frame the information. How you frame your message. Your message can be beautiful, but you don't frame it in the right way, it will be lost. How you package it. You know, what is the most hated animal on the face of the earth? إيش أكره حيوان عند الخلق؟ Rat. Mice. Is by far is the most hated thing in the world. Guess what? What's the most popular character in the world? Mickey Mouse. It is the most loving, famous character in the world. It's just how cute he's framed. You can change people's perspective completely. تقول هذا مجاج النحل حين تمدحه وإن شئت قلت ذا قيء الزنابير مدحا وذما ولم تجاوز وصفهما والحق قد يعتريه سوء تعبير. It's just how you frame your message is so essential. So look at this genius man, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He came and he said, "This is Yathreb." He said, "No more Yathreb." Why? He said, "Yathreb is the name in Jahiliyyah days. Yathreb, it gives you that negative connotations. It's not a very positive meaning." Okay? And that's why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, don't call it Yathreb anymore. Call it what? Taybah. And he said, في Sahih Muslim, قال سموها طيبة أو طابة. طيبة or طابة.